I just wanted to go back to that citation from the question about Romans, Paul saying under the law in Romans. And so I wanted to zero in because there's just two passages in Romans. One's in Romans 2, verse 12, and the other is 3:19. And that's where great translations, even like the NASB, says under the law. And I'll read those to you from the NASB. So the Romans 2:12, all have sinned, for all who have sinned without the law will also perish without the law. And all those who have sinned under the law will be judged by the law. So that's one, the first place in Romans where it says under the law. The second is Romans 3:19. Now we know that whatever the law says, it speaks to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be closed and all the world may become accountable to God, etc. Okay, so these are the two places in the NASB that says under the law. But it's a little bit deceiving because it really is, it's entonomo or ennomo. It's not hupa. It's not under. It's literally in the law. So back to Romans 2:12, the contrast is people who are in the law and people who are out apart from the law. There's no third option. And the people without the law perish without it. So without the law is not a good place to be, according to Romans 2:12. And then those who are in the law, that's where sin, they have this, they're going to be judged according to it. Now, Romans 3:19, it says, whatever the law says, it says those who are in the law. Why does this make a difference? Because he's not talking about the curse in those places, like you point out. Under the law does not refer to, it's not a shorthand for covenant members. And I can show you this by 1 Corinthians 9:20. But here's where it actually does say under the law, and the translations get it right because that's hupa naman. 1 Corinthians 9:20, Paul writes, he says, to the Jews I became as a Jew that I might win Jews. To those under the law, as under the law, not being myself under the law, so that I might win those who are under the law. To those without the law, as without the law, though not being without the law of God, but in the law of Christ, so that I might win those who are without the law. Okay, what's the point? The core point here is that he says, to Jews I became as a Jew, so I could win Jews. To those who are under the law, as those under the law. So the point is like, well, wait a minute. Wouldn't that be the same? Is Paul imagining two different people groups? Jews? Well, normally we'd say, oh, Jews represents people who are covenant people. But then what does he mean by those who are under the law as a separate group of a separate group? And what I take this to mean is that when he's talking about those who are under the law, he's referring as a specialized, almost like sectarian groups that adopt more stringent halachot or ways of living. That he'll go and he'll build relationship with them, to interact with them. But he says at the end, this is 1 Corinthians 9:21, not being without the law of God, but in the law of Messiah, in the law of Christ. In other words, Paul's not saying that he's lawless. What he's trying to do, he doesn't have language to describe like sectarianism and he doesn't have this terminology of sociology to talk about groups in group and out group dynamics and honor and shame and how societies build themselves up over against other societies. He's not quick with this kind of language. And so he's using a different kind of language. But he's clarifying that he himself before God is obligated to what he calls the law of Christ, which is the Torah of the Messiah. It's the Torah the way Yeshua teaches Torah. And why? Because that's different than the Torah you learn at the Essenes community or the Torah that's taught at the local Sadducean community headquarters or at the local Pharisee headquarters. They're not all the same. And so he's anchored in the law of Messiah. In Galatians, under the law specifically is under the curse of the law, because he even clarifies it. He'll say under the curse of the law, and then he'll shorthand that to under the law. But the context is always in Galatians has to do with those who need to be redeemed from the curse. And the redemption from the curse of being under the law is the same thing that Daniel's talking about in Daniel 9, repenting in exile, saying we are under the curses of the law that were written by Moses, because we've all transgressed, our leaders, our kings, our princes have transgressed your law. And now we are suffering the consequences. And we need redemption. So that's the way I see that, is that, again, I love the NASB. I'm grateful for all the hard work of all the translators that are diligent to learn the languages and produce Bibles in English and other languages. But we've got to remember that there is theological bias can creep in. And I think that's what's happened with the NASB here, particularly Romans 2:12 and 3:19.
Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button and check out more videos from Messiah Matters.